Guys, welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our SwiftUI tutorial series, and in this particular tutorial we are going to be taking a look at two different concepts that go hand in hand with one another, and that is the settings scene and the SettingsLink view. Now, we haven't covered many scenes. We've covered a few, but we haven't covered many. There are still some that we haven't covered in this series. There's a few, but this one is particularly important because the settings scene allows us to specify a view that we use as a settings panel. So in these settings panels, you generally have some kind of form or set of controls that modifies certain things in user defaults that you then can access throughout your app to tailor your app experience for your users. Now, the settings link you can place in your user interface, such as in a toolbar or a menu somewhere or something like that, that will open that view that you specify in that settings scene. So you have to have a settings scene for that to work properly. All right, let's go ahead and get started by taking a look at how it is that we can use the settings scene in our main app file. So we'll go back into Xcode. I should also mention that this is macOS specific. So what I'm going to do real quick is I am going to change the run destination to my Mac so Xcode doesn't freak out. And then under Navigator, we want tutorial apps SwiftUI app.swift. So let's go over what we have in our main app structure if you don't recall. And you may not have seen some of this code before because I've added a couple things in here, and I will explain what these extra lines do that I've added. But the first thing that we're doing is we are importing SwiftUI. We have the @main attribute telling Swift, hey, this is the main starting point of our app. We're having our tutorial app SwiftUI app structure conform to the app protocol, which is the protocol that we use to tell Swift, hey, this is a SwiftUI app. Go through that life cycle. And then inside of our body, we're returning some kind of scene. We don't care what that return value is. We just care that it's some kind of scene. And then we have a window group, which will specify our app's main window. And then inside of there, we have content view. Now, in here, I'm using platform compiler directives to do certain things depending on the platform. So, if the OS is macOS, then we want to set the frame of our content view, which in turn sets the frame of the window, right? So it sets the size of the window, and the height and width by default that I have set is 800 by 800. We have and then we go out of that with an end if. And then on the scene itself, on the window group, I again have a conditional compiler directive for the operating system. If the OS that the app is running on is macOS, we are telling the window to have its default positioning be in the center of the user's screen. That's what this does. Default position dot center. That's what that will do. And that's really it. So where does our settings scene come into play here? Well, inside of our body, we're going to go after our window group and put in capital S settings. Now, this will take in one parameter, and that is a content closure. This closure has to has to return a view, something that conforms to view. In this case, we'll say settings view. Now, we don't have a structure called settings view quite yet, so Xcode will yell at us for it. So, with that, that is our settings scene configured. Pretty simple stuff this far. Let's go back into content view. So I'm going to find content view. All right, we'll jump to its definition here. And then inside of this file, we'll just put our settings view in the same file so we have something to work with. We'll say struct settings view conforms to view var body some view, and then in here we'll just put a we'll have an image that is going to be a system name of we'll say gear shape. We'll do a resizable dot excuse me. We'll scale to fit, and then we'll have a frame of 400. So width of 400 and a height of 400 as well. All right, there we go. That should be good. Let's see, struct settings view. We'll say view like that. Okay, now for our content view, it will just have some text of this, or rather, we'll just say hello world. All right, let's save that and run our code. And here's our app, pretty simple. It just has hello world in the center. Now you might be wondering, okay, if we have a settings scene, does that mean that we have a settings option in the app menu? Well, let's take a look. So we can go up to our tutorial app SwiftUI menu. We get about, and we get settings. Let's click settings. And here is our settings view that we created earlier. And you can see our little gear shape here symbol. This is an SF symbol that you can use. So we can see that this does work. We can dismiss this settings view by hitting Command W. And you can summon it again by doing Command comma, as well as going into our main app menu. And that's great, right? That works fantastic for most cases. But if you want to be able to access the settings view from your app's UI, such as having that button, having a share link type thing or or in this case, a SettingsLink type view in the toolbar, for example, you could do that as well. So, inside of our content view, let's go ahead and create a toolbar. So let's go back into Xcode. And then where we have our text, we'll say .toolbar. And inside of the toolbar, it will be as simple as SettingsLink. All right. Now we can provide a label for this. Now, excuse me, what is a default SettingsLink label? Well, we can use this as the label to say we just want the default stuff. That's all we want. Or we could customize it, which we're going to do here. So SettingsLink, because this label is a closure, we can get rid of those parentheses and just have an opening and closing curly brace, like this. And then inside of here, we'll say label settings, comma, system image, gear shape. All right, let's save that and let's run the code now. All right, successful build. Here we are in our app again. But in the toolbar, we have our share link, or not a share link, our settings link. My apologies. My brain is still in the next video that we're going to cover. I just recorded that one. I tend to record these out of order, but that's besides the point. So let's go ahead and click our settings link here. And there's our settings window. We can close out of it again using our Command W. We can hit Command comma to open it. And then you can also open it in the main app menu. So that pretty much does it for this video on how we can create a settings window and how we can create a settings link in our app's user interface. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.